Yo, what's up guys? Nathan or Feeds here. Welcome to another PokeMMO video on the channel. So the Christmas event here in PokeMMO is not over yet. There's still just under 4 days left of the event, but all the content for the event has been added after, the last raid and the Jirachi raid. That being said, I thought it would be a good time to go over the set of raids that were added and sort of look at the important Pokemon that you may want to breed or buy if you don't have them yet for the next event, the Lunar New Year event that will be happening within the next month and a half or so. To accompany this video, I do have a PokePaste in the description that literally has all the information that I will be talking about in this video and more. So for example, to not make things too complicated or too long, I won't be going over, for example, what EV investment you should make into the Pokemon, but the PokePaste has that information. Now, to start off this video, it would not be a raid recap video without Fire-type Pokemon to accompany a Sun team. So one of the most straightforward strategies in these raids were to set Sun with Ninetales, Hidden Ability Drought, and to, use Pokemon such as these Fire types to maximize your damage, to hit damage cap, and just to burn down the boss. So obviously we have Ninetales' Hidden Ability to set Sun. We have Volcarona, which has dual type with a Bug, which we saw Bug types useful for a raid or two. We have Darmanitan, who is a super good Pokemon because, as you can see, all these Pokemon are special attacking. Darmanitan's physical attacking, so you can make use of physical attacking items like a Choice Band, whereas with these Pokemon, you won't be able to put on a 50% boost item, not that they were necessarily necessary during the fights. Something that's really cool about a Pokemon like Chandelure is that not only is it a dual type with Ghost, so we saw during the Gardevoir raid we needed a Ghost type Pokemon, also during that raid and a couple other raids, we used Trick Room quite a bit, or that was sort of like the main mechanic that the devs added that was different for this set of raids. Chandelure can actually be slow, or it can be fast. So for these raids specifically, like the Gardevoir raid, right, you could take off these speed IVs or these speed EVs, and you can make this Pokemon slower, right? Similarly, I bred this Chandelure right here that I haven't evolved yet. I made it quiet, minus speed. I made it 0 speed IVs, and we can see that it's a very slow Pokemon. So Chandelure, just a very good all-around Pokemon. I would highly recommend breeding or buying all 6 of these Pokemon here. So it seems as though I skipped Charizard while recording this video for some reason. What's really nice about Charizard is it has a hidden ability where if it uses a move in Sun, it does a crazy amount of damage. So if you have a Charizard, or should I say if you have the money to breed a Charizard, throw hidden ability on it, guaranteed damage cap in most situations, extremely useful for the Jirachi raid, gonna be useful for more raids in the future. So next, let's talk about fighting type Pokemon. So I believe actually only one raid was it like a pure fighting type raid where it was best to bring like 5 fighting type Pokemon. The 2 Pokemon I mainly want to focus on that I think out of all of these you should breed are Gallade and Medicham. So both of them are fighting psychic, which happens, as we've seen in these raids, to work really well as a dual type, where sometimes fighting is going to be super effective, sometimes psychic is going to be super effective. And during type inversions, like during the Jirachi fight, we've seen these very high attackers using their psychic type moves to be very useful. Both of these Pokemon have an extremely high attack stat thanks to their abilities, double attack, plus 50% on slicing moves, with the dual typing are insanely good. Heracross is another Pokemon that I really do think you should breed. Again, because of its ability Guts, it boosts its attack if it's statused. All these Pokemon have like an ability or something about them that increases their attack to ensure they hit damage cap in some way. And again, this Pokemon is both bug and fighting, allowing for really cool dual typing to make it useful in a lot of situations where something like these two Pokemon up here would only be useful in fighting type fights. Now, another mechanic we actually saw used quite a bit is lowering the boss's, whether it be special defense, special attack, defense, just lowering the boss's stats in some way. And Infernape not only has access to two amazing moves in close combat and Flare Blitz, but we've seen it used a couple times for fake tears to lower the boss's special defense. It's a, normally really fast Pokemon, naturally really fast Pokemon. So this is another good breed, but it'll probably be a bit more expensive and definitely not necessary if you don't have the money. I can't believe I almost forgot about supportive Pokemon. If you've done any of these raids, I'd be very surprised if you didn't have at least a hidden ability prankster Murkrow. Having access to Tailwind, Defog, and Haze mainly are just insane with the priority with its ability. Extremely, extremely important Pokemon to have if you don't. Next, we have Whimsicott and Sableye, which share the prankster ability. These two Pokemon are more niche, probably not as important, but I don't know about Sableye. I know Whimsicott's pretty cheap, so feel free to grab one for really cheap. Maybe don't level it up yet because you don't know if you'll need it, but it's always nice to have. Whimsicott has access to Fake Tears, Light Screen, Safeguard, and Sunny Day, which are moves that Murkrow cannot learn. Now, Sableye, we did not see a use for Reflect or Light Screen on Sableye in this set of raids, I don't believe. We did see a couple uses for Gravity, though, which seems to be a thing that's going to happen more often in these raid fights. Having access to Gravity to be able to use like non 100% accurate moves and make them 100% accurate seems to be really important to hit damage cap. So you don't need a Sableye, but a fast Pokemon such as Sableye with Prankster that can learn Gravity is really important. And finally, we have just a fast, supportive Pokemon in Crobat. I personally didn't use this Pokemon this time around. I don't think a fast, non-Prankster Pokemon was required this time around, but it's always nice to have as a backup, and you might actually have one just chilling, like a Crobat, high speed stat, maybe plus speed nature, who knows. If you have one, it's not bad to, just put a move set on at least. And finally, we have some Pokemon that don't really fit into one category, sort of just some honorable mentions that I still think you should breed. If we categorize this into like these ice types here, Cloyster is another Pokemon that is physical as opposed to special. So I know I have Weavile chilling right here, but most ice types are going to be special. Cloyster's really nice because we see use for him like in the Togekiss fight, where it's good because Togekiss is flying, even though most people are going to bring electric types, still does max damage, is physical, Icicle Spear skill link, super, super good. Really, Vanillix can be replaced with any special ice type, like Articuno, for example. And Weavile, I just want to mention because Weavile is a super fast Pokemon that also has a pretty high attack stat. I don't have a plus attack nature on my Weavile, and during the 1 or 2 raids where I did use him, I was able to hit damage cap despite that. What's also really nice is Weavile can learn Thief, which seems to be becoming a bit more useful, a couple raids here where Thief or, a move that could get off the item of the boss was pretty useful. Rotom is a really interesting Pokemon because we could make this Rotom Heat with Overheat and make him very useful, like if we add him to like the Fire team, Sun team. I have a Rotom Wash here because I'm actually preparing for the Heatran raid, which I do plan on making a video on when I complete it. Being able to switch Rotom form and sort of add him wherever needed at any time is super, super nice. Rotom is a really good all-arounder that I just recommend at least starting the breed on. And finally, we have Honchkrow. Now, Honchkrow has been useful for a few raids for every single set of raids so far. My Honchkrow is nowhere near perfect. Really, you should have a plus attack nature. Mine doesn't. Really, you should have, I think it's super luck on it. Mine doesn't. but it was still really useful because of Sucker Punch, where no matter the situation, you move first, and I highly recommend breeding a good Haunch Crow for this reason. Now, to end off this video, here I will show you guys my 2 boxes of raid Pokemon in case you're interested in even more Pokemon to potentially breed up. So we've got Ambipom as another Pokemon to take off the boss's item. That's fast. Archeops and Rhyperior for rock types, Rhyperior being slow for use during these Trick Room fights. Got Porygon as a stab Hyper Beam user for just some really good damage. Hydreigon and Flygon are both Levitate Pokemon that deal pretty decent damage. They're both fast. Kingdra, Milotic, Politoed. Milotic and Kingdra are pretty bulky Pokemon that can deal really good damage. Politoed being pretty useful in its ability Drizzle, a little bit better than Pelipper in terms of support, but maybe a little bit less in damage. And of course, if you guys do have the money to create a Suicune team, I would highly recommend doing so. Guaranteed Suicune, don't need to run around trying to find it in the wild. Has access to a decent moveset. You know, you can just buy the items to get perfect IVs and nature. Finally, we've got some extra fire types here. A Tepig that I was going to train into an Emboar, Moltres, some electric types that I did not include in, the main part of the video, but I should still shout them out here. Some dual dragon types or dual dark types, pretty useful. A few more ice types here. Jinx is another really fast Pokemon that could be useful. Mamoswine, a bit bulkier, slower, but still useful. And some extra fighting types down here. So again, all these Pokemon are in a Pokepaste that I've linked in the description. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe for more content like this. Peace, guys.